Hi, this is Dan Sullivan. I'd like to welcome you to the Multiplier Mindset Podcast. Hi, today's Game Changer Transformation features Paige and Elyssa, and this is a wonderful story.
My name is Paige Byrd. I'm one of the managing partners of Teal & Teal. I'm an interior designer, so that's my specialty. I manage all of the design services that we offer, and we also have an architectural component to our business. So that's kind of still falls under the creative umbrella, so I oversee everything creative that happens in our office.
I'm Elyssa Barksdale, and I'm also a managing partner at Teal & Teal. I manage the business side of the business. So whereas Paige is everything creative when it comes to architecture and design, I am kind of over business processes, profitability, strategic planning, making sure we make money, and kind of processes and procedures. So I started with Teal & Teal when I was 16 years old, actually. So I celebrated my 12th year at Teal & Teal. We have two founding partners, and Paige and I are actually going in 50-50 to buy the business together. I started as Kurt Teal of Teal & Teal's intern. I was his filing clerk. And then, yes, I'm managing partner now. And when Paige came on, there's actually a pretty funny story about that. I think you should tell it.
Yeah. So this was my second job out of college as a designer. So I had taken a job at Teal & Teal basically kind of just as in a design role and kind of getting to meet everyone. And when I started there and Elyssa started, it was a really small, like, mom and pop shop. Mm-hmm. And there were 6 or 7 of us, and she was introduced as the intern. Mm-hmm. And so in my eye, I'm thinking, okay, so she can do design boards, she can pull schemes together. Oh. And she came in one day and was putting her bags down, and I had just said, hey, we're going to need some help later putting some things together. If we can get you, to help us. And her response was, yeah, don't do that. That's what you said. Yeah, don't do that.
I really don't have a bad attitude about much of anything, but yeah, that was definitely, and so we kind of got started off on an awkward foot. We work so different, but there's such a mutual respect for what she does and for her, with what I do, that it works really well.
Yeah, we know not to butt heads because what I'm terrible at, she's really good at, and vice versa.
But there's a trust there.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, too, whenever we started, our relationship professionally just grew over the course of time, and we found ourselves in a position in a company that is, we offer luxury services. Mm-hmm. So during the recession, 2008, 2009, when the business was basically plummeting, Elyssa was working to get all of her degrees and was basically working at Teal & Teal for free. Mm-hmm. We together had put together the processes from all the design phases, how it works within the organization, figuring out how and if we're profitable,
yes,
putting together the structure that had been missing from the beginning. Mm-hmm. To see if what we were doing worked. Mm-hmm. And after doing that together and the Teals seeing, okay, these ladies, they have it going on, they're adding some value for us.
Yeah.
They asked us to stand with them through the recession, and we did. It went down to the 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we were the business.
Yeah.
And then rebuilt from 4 to over 20 now. Mm-hmm. And still doing a lot of the same thing, but doing a whole lot more of it.
Yeah.
And doing it a whole lot better.
Yeah. So with the discretionary spending, when the recession did hit, it was a very tumultuous time, but at the same time, it gave Paige and I the opportunity to find our unique abilities before we even knew what they were, because it was just the 2 of us and Kurt and Beth. Kurt is an architect, Beth is a designer, and they're both visionaries and extremely good at what they do. But Paige and I both have kind of the business acumen, and we're more drawn to it. And so we were able to really turn the business around. We've grown the business 4 times in terms of revenue and people, and we've been working on our 10 times plan, and we're super excited about it. We had grown very, very quickly in terms of people, in terms of clients and revenue. We had tons of obligations. We were at that burnout point, both of us. We didn't have really anything more to give in terms of hours in a day. Both of us, between 60 and 80-hour weeks over and over and over again. So see a need, fill a need. So I happen to be actually at a backyard barbecue in Eastland, Texas. It's my husband's hometown. And there's a man by the name of Jim Kennedy who started with Strategic Coach back in the 80s. And he was a part of Strategic Coach for a very long time. And him and I always kind of sit down and talk business together. And he started saying things like, free and buffer and focus days. And he was saying 150 free days a year and, A, B, C, D clients. And I was like fireworks, were just going off. So that Sunday night I came home and, looked at Strategic Coach, and immediately the next day I went into work and talked to Paige about it. And I think it was literally a couple of weeks after we had signed up and were on our way.
Yeah, and I remember that the phone call, the first conversation we had was a phone call. The second was a face-to-face. And 2015 was a year for us that was hard, not just because of the workload that we had taken on, but I had a baby that year, which, took me out more, like my whole life, my whole world changed. And while I was gone, Elyssa is trying to manage a business that is booming and growing and was literally at the office from 7 a.m. to midnight pretty much every day and was at her wit's end. So she called me and was like, what would you say if I told you that we could only work on what we love to do 80% of the time? We get all of these days off, and what would you say to that?
And we make more money.
And we would make a ton of money. And I was like, well, I would say you're crazy, but yes, sign me up. So we kind of had that initial conversation. And then the next one, I remember walking into her office and she looked so tired. She just looked like she had it. And I'll be honest, I wasn't sold. I hadn't bought the golden ticket. But all it took was the first workshop to get here, and I knew that it was a thing, but I knew she needed this, and I was like, you know what, we'll try it, we'll go for it, and I'm so glad we did, because it has changed everything about our work-life balance. Our culture and our company is completely different. We were really able to identify the key issues that were holding us back, like personally, from being able to do more and to have more of a balanced lifestyle, as well as just kind of the toxic environment that we had some people in there that weren't right for us and we weren't right for them. And it's been an awesome journey.
It really has. I love you, Paige Byrd.
I love you.
Had we not found Strategic Coach, I'm not really sure where we would be today because of the burnout, because of the way that the culture was bad at that time, and we didn't have the skills that we needed to be able to step back enough to work on the business instead of so much in it. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to own my own business. Since I was probably 4 years old, truly. And so as much as I love Teal and Teal and the company, I didn't know where it was going. And now, of course, all in, no doubt.
What's so great about this is the switch in their mind from the fact that to get bigger, they thought they had to work harder, they had to work longer. And, if you're feeling that your head is hitting the ceiling and the only solution you can see is actually we got to work nights, we got to work weekends, and we have to work harder, we have to work longer. Well, this is a dead-end street. It just doesn't go anywhere. I've seen people's lives fall apart, their personal lives fall apart, their health deteriorates when they come to the conclusion that the only solution to getting bigger and better is working harder and longer. And it just doesn't work. It's like hitting a wall. So the wonderful thing about this is that they saw, first of all, that the game changer that started off all their other game changing was actually joining Strategic Coach. And I would say that anyone who is a learner, someone who's willing to transform, both personally and also organizationally, Strategic Coach is the answer. I've been coaching for close to 45 years, and I've helped transform close to 6,000 entrepreneurs where I was the coach, and then altogether it's close to 20,000 entrepreneurs who have gone through experiences which are very resonant with what Paige and Elyssa say about their businesses. And the reason is twofold. We get you just to focus on what's immediately accessible for you during the next 90 days. What can I identify today where if I focus myself at the end of 90 days, I'm getting bigger and better results, but I'm doing it by working less and working less hard. This is the magic of Strategic Coach. So for entrepreneurs, this is the only route. There's only one highway to the future for entrepreneurs, and you got to get on the on-ramp, and the on-ramp is Strategic Coach. And I'm just so happy to have Paige and Elyssa on our team, in our community, and you too can also get on the superhighway to the future for entrepreneurs, the game changer, transformative game changer highway to the future. I've watched entrepreneurs for almost half a century now because I've been a coach for almost half a century. Here's the telltale signs that you have to transform your game. You're being tempted just because of the demands of your work and all the frustrations and all the problems you see to say, I have to work harder and longer. And I have to tell you, this is suicidal for entrepreneurs. Not only are you not going to go forward, you're actually going to go backward. You're not going to go up, you're going to go down. And I've seen it over and over again. So my feeling is that you've probably already in the back of your mind come to this conclusion. The only question is, where do I go to get the help, the support, the solutions that I'm looking for? And the answer is just one. It's Strategic Coach, strategiccoach.com. And what we're going to show you is how to take a frustrating, problem-filled, limited growth entrepreneurial career and turn it into a game changer transformation for yourself, for your personal life, and for a growing team of really great team members that are going to allow you to multiply into the future. So this is the solution that entrepreneurs are looking for. I've worked almost a half a century on this. We're world-renowned as the center for game-changing entrepreneurs. So give us a call today.